Hi students, welcome back. We're going to be modeling this simple block with a kerf. The kerf is that little cutout part there. And we're in the textbook. This is a level 2 model, so I'm going to call this Onshape Part 02 block with kerf. And you can see here that this is made of stainless steel. We're going to be working in millimeters, and the density of that stainless steel is 80/30. I'm going to show you a couple of ways to solve this. Perhaps the fastest way with a few rectangles, and then perhaps a way that a beginning student might go about it. So let me show you the game plan. So as you know, this face here is the front face, and this is the top face, and this is the right face. And I'm going to start here on the right face, and I'm going to make a rectangle that is centered about the origin. Okay, so I'm going to make a rectangle that this bottom dimension here, this dimension here may be a little confusing to you. This dimension should be clear, that's 25. But what is this top dimension? Remember, this is the right face here, the right face. So the right face looks this way onto the top face. Okay, and so that long edge here, the 50, is going to be the top of my right. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to then draw another rectangle. We're going to center it along this line. Okay, but that one is going to be centered, and we're going to make sure that the bottom of the tiny rectangle is coincident to this bottom edge here of the big rectangle. We're going to make sure that we're going to use the center line symmetry, which means that the left-hand side and the right-hand side should be mirrors of each other, and that's what these little bright green symbols here mean, center line symmetry. Okay, so now that we have a game plan, let's get started. Okay, so I've got my part studio here ready to go. It's just an empty part studio, and again, we're going to start on the right side. So I'm going to click on the right plane, Shift S to create a new sketch, N to get normal, and P to hide the planes. All right, I'm going to press R to produce a rectangle with a center point rectangle. So I'm going to make sure that I am highlighting and clicking on that origin there before I make my rectangle and click off of it. Remember, this bottom face is 50 and the side face is 25. Or the side edge rather is 25. So we can zoom in on that. I'm going to press escape and move this up a little bit so it looks a little tidy. Okay. So now I'm going to make another center point rectangle, so R, and I want to be along this center line. I don't want to click on the origin here and make my rectangle like this because it's going to always be stuck at the middle in the origin, and that is not what we have over here. We have the rectangle stuck to the bottom edge. So back over here, I'm going to press undo and start again. So I'm going to make an R, click R to get the center point rectangle, and I'm just going to come somewhere down here, click and drag, and I'm going to make sure that I am sitting, my bottom edge of the small rectangle is on the bottom edge of the big rectangle. Boom. We know by looking at the 2D drawing that this bottom edge of the small one is 15 and this side edge is 10. And we can see here that it is all white. It is all white, which means it is fully constrained. This brings up a good point right here. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the get out of the dark mode, which is probably what beginning students would be in. So you might see something like this. So for you, for a fully constrained model, it should be all black like this. Perfect. Okay. So now we're going to press OK. And what do I want to do? I want to take this part here, not all of it, just the outside part, and I want to extrude it. So we're looking at it from this edge, from this side, and we're going to extrude it this way. So we're going to extrude 45. So Shift E to get into our extrusion, Tab, 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 and type 45. Okay, and then we're going to do Tab, 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 and we're going to make it symmetric. So I'm going to press the button, the space bar there, and now that's symmetric. Let me show you what that did. if I bring the planes back by pressing P, you can see now that when I have extruded that right along that, pushed into and out of the right plane, that right plane cuts it right in half. If I open up the extrude dialog box again, take off symmetric, you can see it's built off of the right plane, straight off the right plane. But because we have centerline symmetry, let's go ahead and do it right that way. The mass will be the same. Everything would be the same. Your customer wouldn't even notice a difference, but your teacher would. So let's do it the right way. Okay. And that is the way I would do it. Now let's go ahead and right click on this and let's assign the material, and you can see the material is stainless steel. And if so, I'm going to use the I'm going to use my custom library that I want my students to use. And there's a little card up there at the top where you can see how to install custom materials. Okay, and we know we're stainless steel, so I'm going to come down to the S's and notice it's 80-30, which is the same density that we want. So yay for us. Boom. I can click on the part or anywhere on that part there, press the display mass properties, and I get 397.5. And over here we see it's 397.5. Yay, that worked out great. Last thing we can do, because we know what we know the part is made correctly. The last thing we can do is we can turn make it be the right color. So let's change the appearance. And it looks pretty close to this teal here. Oh, no, it looks pretty close to this teal here, there. So 137, 218, 212, 137, 218. This is 211. So I'm just going to fix that by making it be exactly that, 211. I can't tell the difference, but maybe some of you can. So we press OK. And now we have that. We're done. Let's move on to the next one. But before we do that, let me show you how a beginning student might do this. And there's a lot of mistakes here that a beginning student might make because of the way they might go about making this. Okay, so where to start here? Maybe you want to start right here and put the origin there, or maybe you want to put the origin over here. I think either way is fine for a beginning student. And let's just live with the origin over here in the bottom left-hand corner. So you're going to grab a line tool. You're going to go up 25. That's pretty simple. Remember, this top edge here is 50. And so we are going to draw another line here across and make that be 50. We're going to draw another line down, and we're going to make sure we don't even have to come down 25. What we're going to do is we're going to come over here. We're going to hover over this origin and make sure that we wake up the origin and say, let's just come down until we're horizontal to the origin. We're going to come over some arbitrary distance. Again, we're going to ignore these two 17.5 measurements. It's fine to do so, but because they're in parentheses, we don't need them. So let's see if we can build it without using them. So this is going to be an arbitrary distance. So then I'm going to come up 10, I'm going to come over 15, I'm going to come down 10, and then, or really I'm going to come down back to where it's horizontal to the origin again, and I'm going to finish this guy off. Okay. And we're going to see that this box here is going to float. This box we can move left and right because it's not going to be fully constrained, because again, we are going to pretend that we don't know that these bottom edges here are 17.5. I'm going to show you how to make that work and how to fix that. Okay, and then we're going to extrude this. We're going to push this out this way. Again, remember this is the right side. So we're going to extrude it from the right, pushing this way, 45. Superman was a big movie this summer, and Superman has X-ray vision, and that's what these little dotted lines, these light blue lines, indicate. If you could look through this top face, the front face, with X-ray vision, you would see that there would be an edge right here, which is the top of our kerf. And conversely, additionally, if you look from the top with Superman's X-ray vision, you could see the edges here of the kerf sides. All right, so let's get started making it with lines instead of rectangles. Okay, so I've made a Part Studio number 2. I just went over here and pressed plus and created a Part Studio, a second Part Studio. And now we are going to build this edge here. So we click on the right plane, press Shift S to create a sketch, press N to get normal to, press P to hide the planes, L for align, and we're going to start right here. So I'm going to make sure that I'm hovering over that origin, and I'm going to start there. I'm going to come up 25, hit enter. I want to do my dimensions as I build if I can. I'm going to come over here, do the top edge nice and flat, type 50 for 50. Here, I don't have to come down 25. If I come down, I don't have to make it be exactly 25. I can wake up that origin, and that yellow line tells me that, hey, that is horizontal to the origin, as you can see with my two little icons there. And I can click there, and then I can move over some arbitrary distance. Okay, and this distance is going to be, it could be 17.5 if we want to kind of cheat, but I'm going to show you that you don't have to know that. So I'm going to come up 10. So click 10. I'm going to come to the left 15, 1, 5. I'm going to come down. I don't even want to go down 10. I just want to go down until it's along that horizontal from that bottom corner. And then I close it off that way. I'm going to press escape, and I'm going to tidy up my my little dimensions there. Okay, and so everything here is black. Everything is black except for these blue edges. And if you take it, you could do a drag test. You could take an edge, or you could take a corner, and you can see that we don't know where this needs to go. Okay, we don't know that it's 17.5. Let's pretend we don't. So, but we do know that we want this box to be right in the center. So this line here has a midpoint, and this line has a midpoint. So if we make those two midpoints be aligned vertically with each other, then the little rectangle would be in the center. And one of the coolest little tools that I used to use as a beginner, I used it a ton as a beginner, was the point command, the point tool right there, or Shift S for the point. And if the reason I want to point is I want to make that midpoint right there, that midpoint have a point on that midpoint. So now I have a little tiny dot there. And I'm going to do the same for here. Boom. Okay. Well, that didn't that doesn't align anything, but it gives me something to grab onto when I do want to align. So I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to grab the vertical. So I want these 2 points, that point and that point, to be vertical, and my vertical tool has been selected, and I click on those two. Boom, now those 2 points aligned vertically. I'm going to undo that. I'm going to show the constraints, and you're going to see that in here there is no vertical constraint at all. Okay, but I'm going to click on that dot there and click on that dot there, and now when I press the V key for vertical, you'll see, boop, that now I have added that vertical constraint. So it's very complicated looking with all of those constraints shown. So I'm going to uncheck it and hide them again. But now, once again, we have a nice, dark, fully constrained drawing, and we are ready to extrude. So I just press OK on the sketch, Shift E for extrude, tab, 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 type in 45, tab, tab, tab. To make it symmetric, I hit the space bar to make that symmetric, to select symmetric. I then press enter, and I am done with that. Right click on the part, assign material, PCR custom materials. Again, I'll put a card here if you don't know how to do that. Come down here to stainless steel 8030. Boom. Okay. Click anywhere on the part. Boom. 397.5, 397.5. And there you have it. 2 ways of making exactly the same part. And I hope that helped. Give me a like if it did. Leave me a comment in the video. If you have questions, I'm happy to help. Thanks for watching.